Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Unbettable. I'm Mondo here today with Holmes. We don't know where Gare is. We're assuming he'll show up at some point. So until then, good luck to him. But Holmes, we're finally here, right? We had college football last week. Now we get college football and NFL. I don't know about you, but all I did was kind of sit on my couch all weekend and watch football and did nothing else and was beyond happy with it.
Of course, dude. That was the vibe all weekend long. It's awesome to have NFL football back in the building, man. Just having college and NFL back to back, like, whew, these
Mm-hmm.
are the weekends we live for, dude. A lot of fun, interesting stuff happened in the college slate. Week one of the NFL, very low scoring, quarterback play, really, really poor. We'll get into all of that, but man, great week of football. We're excited to just get this shit kicked off, sir.
Yeah, man. So I guess let's kind of go chronologically here and let's go, I guess, big noon kickoff. I mean, that's really where we're trying to see college football. Michigan, Texas, we know now. Michigan, they ain't shit anymore. They ain't shit. Texas is dominant. They are running for this college football playoff and absolutely a contender for the national championship. Holmes, I will ask you though, how, how do we feel about Michigan's potential for the playoffs after this game?
Not very good. Not very good, dude. And honestly, it's really because of their quarterback play. Their quarterback play looks very, very subpar. I mean, I get we've talked about Michigan losing a lot of guys to the draft. A lot of leadership on that team has left. So it's a really different team than they have from last year. And plus, you put in the head coaching change of Sharon Moore instead of Harbaugh being there. Like it's going to be a little bit of a reset for them this year. And I don't think they were really expecting it until Texas came in and absolutely punched him in the mouth. I mean, for 60 minutes in that game, you could tell Texas was superior on both sides of the ball. Their defense was locking down
Uh, I
and his receivers looked
oh no, I'm having internet problems. Holmes, can you hear me? Holmes.
Michigan to get in over them. The quarterback play is just it's suspect this year. Davis Warren, I think, is the guy's name. Like, did not look good at all passing the ball. Alex Orgy was arguably worse. I mean, it was just really tough to see from both sides, to be honest.
Holmes, I don't know if I cut out or you cut out, but all that went to shit.
Oh
Um,
no, dude. Bad.
there's a lot going on right now, man, but I
Okay.
trust your
To
analysis.
recap everything, Michigan quarterback play suspect. Very bad.
Mhm.
They're not making the playoff.
All right. Long story short, there we go.
Bang.
Um, Holmes, by far the biggest upset of the entire weekend in both college and NFL. NIU taking down number 5 Notre Dame 16-14, the field goal in the fourth quarter. Holmes, we talked about it a lot on the show, and it's Notre Dame, it's Penn State as those perennial 7, 8, 9 seeds in preseason rankings. My question to you is: at what point is Notre Dame just not good enough to be in the top 10 every year?
Yeah, I think this I think this is that year. I think they continually get the benefit of the doubt. A lot of times because of their schedule, them not being in a conference kind of gives them free will on who they're able to schedule, and their schedule looks wildly different every year than it does from the previous year. A few reoccurring opponents in there, like normally always taking on USC, maybe have another big matchup mixed in there, but this is their third loss as a double digit favorite in 3 years under Marcus Freeman. That's pathetic, dude. Like, you have these, I'm pretty sure, what was it, Marshall a couple years ago,
Yep.
Stanford, it might have been, was the second team, and then NIU coming in here and just upsetting the shit out of Notre Dame. I mean, this was crazy. They were the number fifth ranked team in the country. And the reality of it is, I don't think they're as good as just a lot of people have said that they are. Riley Leonard is not as talented of a QB as I think people are making him out to be. He looks very system-ish, has to be really
Yeah.
comfortable in a Notre Dame offense that will maybe or maybe not have weapons around him that'll do the work that he needs to look like a good QB. But 163 yards, 2 interceptions. He did not look good in the offense, was not comfortable all night long. I mean, and from a defensive standpoint, they just weren't as strong. They didn't look like they were up, ready, willing to play. And finally, the Gare man has joined us.
It's
Gare, welcome
about
to the
damn time.
wow.
Look at
Sorry.
Gary, so inspirational, making an appearance on today's episode.
I had a
Um,
friend that I haven't talked to since I graduated high school, just randomly called me on blue and was like, "Hey, saw you back in town. Like, let's hang out sometime." It was pretty cool. So
All right,
I kinda- yeah.
guy or girl?
Both actually. They were
Huh?
like best friends back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Very
yeah.
cool. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're here now because we kind of worked our way down the chain. Next up, we have UF. But before that, I wanted to take you guys on a little bit of a journey that I went through in this Nichols versus LSU game on Saturday.
Oh my
So
God.
we hosted a watch party and had a bunch of Julie's friends over. We had Lip come over, and a couple other people. We were sitting around. We were like, let's throw some money down on something. And we came across this bet. And looking back on it, it was unbelievable. It was Nichols team total for the game 5.5 points. 5.5 points. That's all it was.
wow.
Just
Dude, they like
literally 2 field goals or a touchdown. Either way, 5.5 was all you
they
needed,
almost won
right?
that game for like half the game.
Well, let me get there. So
Okay.
first, first like kind of series of the game, Nichols drives down touchdown. I threw a little $50 because that was kind of just a side bet for Saturday. Ended up making 95, right? So then I'm like, oh, well, let's run it back. But this time, let's toss in Samford over 6.5 because now both of them are. Oh, well, Samford was over 6.5. Nichols State was over 9.5.
Was this per quarter or per game?
What do you mean? This
Like,
is for the game, the
what the?
entire game. So I
I was wondering.
parlayed it. I put $50 in. I parlay it. It hits, right? Obviously. So now I'm at 147.06 in wins. Actually, a little more than that. This is just off that bet. So then I'm like, you know what? Let's keep running it back. Nickel State, they look good, man. They look good. So we do over 15.5 for $125. I ended up making 260. All right,
Hell,
let's keep it going. It's early in
stay
the
hot.
third. Early in the
Stay hot.
third. Let's hammer this over 22.5 Nickel State team total for $200. Just toss it out there. If I lose, I'm still up on the day. When I tell you they did not score again the entire game, they needed one more point. I shit you not, one more point, and they didn't cash.
Couldn't get it, yeah.
Got you. They grabbed you by
Oh,
the
they
nuts and said,
grabbed
"Come
me
here."
by the nuts and squeezed, and I was trapped, bro. I was trapped.
twisted.
And it's bad because, everyone there is riding the bet, right? Like everyone's noticing the trend that's happening. All the girlfriends are getting involved. So we get to that 22.5, and I toss 100 down on it. Guess who the first person was that said, make it 200? It
Lip.
was Julie.
Oh my god.
Just
Wow.
a bad influence all the way around. And then her dental friends go, make it 200. I'm a people pleaser.
Nuts.
What am I going to do? I make it 200. I lose the 200.
Teach them how to bet. Fucking.
It is what it is. But I just had to share that story time because that was the most epic, like, football game I've ever been a part of. There were highs and lows like crazy. Um, but anyway, back to what we're really talking about. UF played Samford. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a big thing. You probably had to buy ESPN Plus to even watch the game. So it's not a great game. We get that. But I do want to point out one thing. That guy, DJ Lagway, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. So I wanted to ask both of you, How are you feeling about Lagway? And do you think he should be the starter the rest of the season? Garrett, let's start with you. Again, this might be my internet.
I mean, Lagway was impressive, dude. He was very, very impressive. The way he was able to not only move about that pocket and have so much poise the entire game. Did I cut out, boys? Did I cut out?
I don't know if you cut
Oh,
out
no,
or
no,
I
no, no,
cut
you're good.
out, but go.
You did for a little bit. You were frozen. Okay. All right. If we're back now, his poise, his command of the offense the entire game was awesome. You love to see that first game for this freshman to be able to come in and look as confident as he did all game long. The deep passes that he was hitting, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think Graham Mertz is making those throws, dude. I mean, being able to fit this ball into tight windows, Elijah Badger, Tank Hawkins, Trey Wilson, even Hayden Hansen getting involved, Chimera DK, like dude was getting everybody on the offense fed. And I love to see it. I am really, really hoping they start to Texas A&M. I think there's rumblings out there from Mr. Billy Napier that we're gonna go with a little 2 QB plan here against Texas A&M. Don't really love that. I think DJ showed you more than enough that he is capable to keep trotting out there, man. Because I don't know if we talked about it on the last episode, but I think DJ is the only chance that this man has at saving the job right now.
Gary.
Yeah, I feel like he put on a good show. I mean, no matter what team you play, 456 yards is an accolade that should be celebrated and should be respected. He also made some electric throws, like Mondo was saying, or not Mondo, sorry, Hart was saying. The one that I can really think of in particular was the one where he was on the run, and threw it in the back right of the end zone into double coverage and just threaded it. Absolutely disgusting, kind of stupid, but it hit, so whatever, keep it pushing. Now moving forward with the Gators offense, I feel like Billy Napier has made it very clear in the media that he does respect Lagway for his talent, but at the same time, they are still going to play Mertz. I feel like I can't remember who said the quote, but it was like you're gonna feel the venom of the rattlesnake and the bite of the king cobra. And like what he meant by that was like having a dual QB threat is never a bad thing. I mean, you look back in the Gators history books and you had, Emory Jones and I want to say Felipe Franks playing
What a
together there.
power duo that was.
But now, the reason I say that was because Felipe could somewhat throw the ball, but if there was ever an RPO, they would throw Jones in there, and obviously he was pretty shifty on his feet. And I feel like that's something we could be seeing coming up here. I mean, I feel like, if we have an offense or a defense that's kind of keeping your QB in the pocket, might as well keep Mertz in there. But if you have somebody that's going to need you to scramble, you have Lagway. So I feel like they really have the best of both worlds. But in my own opinion, I think Lagway has the best out of both of them. So I would like to see him start. I feel like every time you have a Florida QB that has their family in the stands, throwback to like AR when he had his whole family out there, he balled out. So hopefully, the same is for Lagway, but definitely a good first showing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Billy. I think it's better off having, Graham Mertz take the brunt of the schedule on. Lagway's a freshman and he's got time to learn what to do and especially what not to do. And
Yeah.
I think he gets rolling reps through every single game, but I think it's better just sending Graham out there to essentially take the beating to pave the way for Lagway next season to just take it all over. But yeah, now going over to the NFL, we have NFL recap. Everybody knows it's going to take a little bit. Let's start off Ravens Chiefs. Chiefs take it 27-20. Obviously, it comes down to that last play in the end zone with Isaiah Likely. Which fuck him, by the way. He ruined all of my fantasy leagues because I have Mark Andrews in just about every one of them. But this was actually an absolute battle. I loved every second of this game. Gare, what were your takeaways from the opening game of the whole season?
I had a lot of money on the Ravens for this game. I'm not even gonna lie. Monday or what was that? What was that Thursday night that they played? Thursday night was definitely, or Monday or Thursday, whenever the fuck they played was definitely a stinger.
Thursday.
I definitely think that the game went how I thought it was gonna go. I didn't really think any team was gonna dominate the other. It was just overall a great game to watch. I mean, a couple things that kind of pissed me off. The catch in the end, of course. It's just like I don't know, it's so frustrating because it's like he made that catch and like I know he stepped out and I get that's part of the rules, but like, oh my God, bro, like that would have been so electric. And it's just all comes down to the Chiefs being the most hated team in the NFL. Of course you're gonna think that, refs did call some pretty bullshit things, but this is also the NFL we're talking about, not necessarily college football anymore. So there's not as much shit, sliding around. The one thing I will say, Derrick Henry, I feel like put on a Derrick Henry performance. I don't really think that it's anything too crazy or too bad for him. But bro, he's like a boat. Like he has no shift at all. Like it's just when you give him the ball, he's gonna keep running forward. Like God forbid there's a brick wall because he might run through it. But like he can't cut at all. He's too big. He's not necessarily the fastest, but he is strong as fuck. So I think it was a good addition and fun to watch him play again and actually watch him play for a good team. But overall,
Mm.
fuck the Chiefs always.
Hmm. Yeah, the Ravens +3 here. That obviously did not work out very well. Was really, really hoping for that touchdown to count there at the end because I definitely would have covered. They were going to go for two, whether they were going to make it or not, didn't matter. I was looking to win there. I was kind of going to say the same thing Garrett did, is just along the lines of Derrick Henry. I mean, the guy just doesn't look like he has any agility at all, man. Like, yeah, he's a tank and he's got all the muscle in the world, but I mean, they just didn't look like there was a whole ton of juice there outside of that. I mean, I did not have Lamar Jackson going for over 120 rushing yards on the opening
Mm.
night against the Chiefs defense. I mean, that dude was finding all types of different space to run and is completely the opposite of what I thought. I thought bringing in Derrick Henry, you're going to take a lot of that rushing load off of Lamar Jackson. That might prove to be the actual opposite this year. I mean, Lamar might become even more dangerous of a runner this year because of that. And on the side of the Chiefs, man, I mean, they just did what they did best. Like they turn up, they play well when it matters most. I didn't think that they were going to start out necessarily hot here, and maybe they were going to drop another really close game, but to open the season just like they did last year against the Lions. But for them to be able to hold on, played some pretty nice defense all night. Pat Mahomes obviously was slinging it when he needed to, and Xavier Worthy. That guy's gonna be a
Oh yeah.
weapon. God damn. When he took that jet sweep into the house, the first time he touched the ball in the NFL, my God, dude, that guy looked like Tyreek Hill. Ooh, that's gonna be crazy to watch.
Oh, 100%. Onto a game that honestly was ridiculous to watch. In a game that saw the Packers and Eagles, the only storyline going in is what color are these teams wearing because they can't wear green. The only storyline that I got coming out of this game, holy fuck, are the Giants stupid, man. How do you let a generational talent like Saquon Barkley just walk away in free agency? I mean, 3 touchdowns. He had 109 rushing yards. I think I great receiving numbers aside from the fact that I needed over 2.5 receptions, and he got two for one touchdown. Like ridiculous. But how do the Giants fumble that? That's my literal only takeaway from this game, aside from hoping Jordan Love gets better soon. Holmes?
Yeah, absolutely. Hoping Jordan Love recovers quickly. You hated to see that, especially so late in the game, just kind of on a really difficult angle tackle in the backfield. Yeah, not too much from this game really. Like I think despite the amount of mistakes that the Eagles had, especially early in the game, Jalen Hurts throwing some really bad interceptions. They still came through because, like you said, that new weapon in Saquon Barkley, dude, he is gonna go, I think, crazy for the Eagles this year. No idea what the Giants were doing there and letting him go because man, he looked like a generational talent. I think he's only gonna better as the year goes along. They're just going to figure out more and more ways to be able to utilize him in that offense and then be able to open it up for all the other guys that they have on that offense as well. So great showing by the Eagles. I think the Packers will regain their form, but we just got to hope that Love comes back quickly because with a backup QB, they'll be lucky to stay afloat for a while.
Um, yeah, I mean, I thought only thing that really worries me about the Eagles is Sirianni still has that tired in his eye, and you can tell, and Jalen Hurts still is just not clicking on all cylinders. And you can this game, although they won, like I'll give them their flowers for that. You can tell that the presence of Jason Kelsey was one that was very strong because those first few snaps of that game, that center was fucking up, bro. Like from the one snap he made when Jalen Hurts wasn't even looking at him to just the multiple drop blocks that he had and just the overall performance of that offensive line and forcing Jalen Hurts out of the pocket. Like, yes, he can run, but like, dude, it's not really what he should be doing. I feel like they definitely have some things to work on. But I really don't see the Eagles doing anything crazy this year. I think they're gonna have a mid-ass season. The way they played against Green Bay was kind of dog shit, especially in the first half. So I don't really have much faith in them. Die Eagles die. That's how I feel about it.
All right, over to the 1 o'clock games. Let's kick it off. Jags Dolphins. Obviously, we knew it was going to happen coming into this. Dolphins win 20-17, but that's not what anybody on the planet is talking about. Guys, break it down for me. What was the deal with Tyreek Hill? And have you seen all the new videos that have come out? Gary, let's start with you.
Yeah, I actually took about 15 minutes on Twitter today watching everything. Um, eh, it's literally just another video of a celebrity getting arrested. I feel like this shit happens all the time. When some cop figures out they got somebody big and they're gonna make a scene. And if you watch the beginning of the video, Tyreek was flying down that road. So I understand why he got pulled over, bro. He was flying. It took him a minute to catch up to him. They get up there, rolls his window down, yada yada yada, rolls it back up. He doesn't listen. When you don't listen to the police, shit usually escalates. Now, the level to which it got escalated, I feel like was a bit unnecessary from ripping him out of his car and throwing him on the ground. And then whenever he's standing up on the sidewalk, like trying to suplex him from behind, like that was pretty fucking stupid. And then they actually released another body cam video today a cop talking to another cop was like, "Hey, do you even know who that is?" And the guy's like, "No." And he's like, "He's a big football player for the Dolphins." And you can hear the cop under his breath go, "Fuck." And like you could just tell that they went all out. I mean, I feel like it was just the amount of people that were around as well as players trying to help him out definitely escalated it into something it didn't have to be. And then he did the celly during the
10 out
game
of
in
10.
which got a fine for
Incredible.
it. I don't know, bro. I think Tyreek is a great football player. Um, Obviously he showed that with that 80-yard touchdown that he had, but he's such a dog shit human being,
Oh yeah.
bro. Like better. It's just I don't know. I feel bad for him. I feel like the process could have been a lot smoother, but at the end of the day in the video he was being very disrespectful, but the violence from the cops was pretty unnecessary.
Holmes.
Yeah, I won't pile too much on. I agree with everything you said, Gary. Definitely faults from both sides there. You can see in the video, like, Reek should have complied a little bit more. Cops obviously shouldn't have been as aggressive as they were. Um, but honestly, when I saw that come out that morning, I was like, dude, Tyreek might have a game.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek might absolutely ball out. He didn't have like a generational game, like the games that he has had before. But scoring a touchdown, looking as good as he did, I mean, I feel like he had to see that coming after something goofy like that happens to him in the morning. Um, this was honestly a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Dolphins offense was not really cooking on every cylinder like I expected them to be at home. But first game of the season, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But god damn it, I wish they would have covered that 3.5.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the same issues that we saw last year are starting to emerge again this season, and I'm not a big fan of it. So I'm a little worried there. However, I do like that Tua's already leading the league in passing yards as we projected this year because he is a dominant force of a quarterback. Moving on to the Panthers and the Saints. The Saints absolutely cockrocked the Panthers 47-10. Uh, uh, Again, one takeaway here for me. Chris Olave, how is it that you managed to be, the superstar receiver of the Saints team? And in a 47-point win, you managed 3 fantasy points. I need that broken down for me. But Holmes, what were your takeaways from this game?
Dude, not much. This was an absolute shellacking. I can't believe the Saints honestly put up that many points. Like, I didn't think the Saints were going to be that good. Granted, I think the Panthers are going to be one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in football this year. But they absolutely torched the Panthers. Derek Carr had a day. I mean, we talked about it. That was my dud for the fantasy years. Chris Olave, I did not think he was going to have a nice year in this Saints offense. Might get double covered a lot and left a lot of kind of, I guess, receiving options open for Rashid Shaheed, Foster Moreau, Alvin Kamara got 5 receptions. Jawan Johnson got in action a little bit. I mean, all these guys are getting the targets a lot more than Olave is getting. So that's a little interesting to take note of right there. But other than that, man, the Panthers looked bad. Bryce Young and that offensive line, there's still so much work to be done with that team, dude. It's tough to watch.
Yeah, I guess my only takeaway isn't even really a takeaway, it's a question. Is Derek Carr back?
No, stop,
He
bro.
had
Stop.
Bro,
200 pass yards.
the
No.
way he played, I think he played really good for what he was doing and with the Raiders. I feel like things were clicking. Yes, they were basically playing against a high school team. But he looked good, bro. He looked good. He had awareness. He looked like competent. I mean, I'm excited to see what he does. Like I always like watching like quarterbacks go to different teams. I mean, Kirko, that's a different story. Oh God, man.
Well, yeah,
But we'll
speaking of
say
that, let's head straight into that. Steelers beat the Falcons 18-10. Russell Wilson was not available. Justin Fields comes in, puts up 156 yards. Again, nothing incredible. Everything about this game, aside from the fact that this is the year of Kyle Pitts, did not matter. Hey, this game was terrible, but Gary, let's get right into your opinion here.
yeah, Kirko, man. He's fucked. Like to put it simply, he's so fucked. I don't really see him. I like Kirko in a Falcons jersey just looks weird to me. It doesn't really fit him. And it was pretty evident that he wasn't really clicking with his receivers either. Just throwing really shitty passes and a really crucial interception there at the end of the game. And I don't know if you guys saw the Twitter video, but his entire family was in the stands and just got absolutely berated by Steelers fans. And I guess the funniest thing about this game was Russell Wilson suiting up, even though he knew damn well he wasn't touching the field. Uh, so go Russ. You're such a yeah, go Russ.
Dude, just take the year off. It's $1 million. Just take it off.
Yeah.
Like it's so not worth it.
He's an embarrassment, bro.
It's so not
Yeah, this
worth it.
shit this shit was just ugly, man. Only one touchdown scored in the game. That was by Kyle Pitts. Like, oh man, this was just a weird one. Like Falcons set a very bad impression for a team that pretty much everybody and their mom was in over the offseason for all the additions they made offensively and defensively. Kirk Chain's got a lot to work on if he's gonna lead that offense better than he did against the Steelers. Justin Fields, not the greatest passing performance in the world, but rushing stats looked good. He looked competent back there. I mean, he's probably the best backup quarterback in the league right now. If Russell
Yeah.
Wilson's technically your starter, but I mean, I was impressed with what Justin Fields did. I think Steelers are still gonna be in a good spot whether they start him. Well, no, actually, they will only be in a good spot if they start him. I don't think they're gonna be good if Russell Wilson starts. So let me put that out there right now. I had Russell Wilson to throw a pick. That bet obviously was mush because Russell Wilson didn't even play. And Falcons -3.5. God, what a horrible pick right there. I mean, God, that offense looked anemic. Hate to see it.
All right, let's take it over to the Cardinals versus the Bills. What was honestly a nail biter for Josh Allen and the Bills turns into Josh Allen might actually be their full-time goal line running back. I
Yeah.
mean, I have not seen a running back get vultured quite like Cook has since Mike Tolbert existed out in LA. Shout out to
Yeah.
all my fullbacks out there. You know Mike Tolbert.
Yeah.
Gary, let's start with you. How are you feeling about Josh Allen's performance with no Stephon Diggs and no Gabe Davis?
I loved it. The beginning was very worrying for me. I have him in two of my leagues. And he had like -1 point after the first quarter, and I was like, no, bro, like this is not the Josh Allen we're getting this year. Kyler was just like, you want to talk about running back, Kyler Murray, bro, like what the fuck? He didn't throw the ball to anybody. That man was a ball hog all game. But Josh Allen, bro, was absolutely electric on the goal line. Like, I don't really think about how big he is until he goes for runs like that and absolutely just lays everybody out in front of him. Like if I was on the other side of the ball, I would low key be scared of Josh Allen. He's
Mhm.
like what? He's like 6'4", 6'5". He
Yeah.
has to be at least like 240, like he's huge, bro. Like, but yeah, I really thought that was gonna be a bad L for the Bills, but they flipped it around and turned nothing into something. So yeah.
Holmes.
Yeah, mad props to Josh Allen. I mean, being able to throw for 2 TDs, rush for two more, like he's shown that he's probably gonna have to put the team on his back this year, and that he's capable of doing it, even in a game where the first half looked as dire as it was. They're still able to come back and win that game. Like on the Cardinal side of things, I think you have to be pretty happy with the way the offense was being able to cook all day long. James Conner looked pretty good. Obviously Kyler Murray coming off of his ACL injury, he did play a little bit last year, but for him to just get comfortable again in the first game back, I think he looked nice. I think he's only just going to improve, get more chemistry with his receivers. Marvin Harrison wasn't even really a factor in this game. I expect that to change a lot going forward. Same thing on the other side with Dalton Kincaid and the Bills. That dude was, I mean, barely targeted the entire game. Expect him to be a much bigger portion of that offense going forward. I mean, the biggest thing here, I think the Bills defense, dude, they got a lot to work on. I don't think giving up 26 points to the Cardinals was what they had in mind for this game. But they're gonna have to work on some stuff because I think there is going to be only so many times that Josh Allen is going to be able to win them games by himself, especially when you get late season, dude. I mean, that it's gonna wear and tear on him. I really do think that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I really got nothing to add to that if we're being honest here. That was dead on. Let's
Yeah.
send it up to Chicago. We have the Bears and the Titans. And what was ultimately what I thought a failed debut out of Caleb Williams. I just thought he didn't look that good. He looked extremely uncomfortable for someone who, gives off such a confident kind of vibe about him. He just didn't look like he fit with the offense. And that's, you got to be a little worried, game one against the Titans of all teams, that it was that close. So, Holmes, what are your thoughts about Caleb Williams' debut?
Just like you said, man, didn't look good. Under 50% passing, couldn't even crack 100 yards. Just kind of looked off in a lot of situations. Wasn't able to really connect with his receivers who, to be frank, we've had a lot of confidence in the offseason about him being able to connect with these guys, especially Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, some veteran
Mm-hmm.
guys that they've brought in. Roma Dunze, one of the most talked about rookies coming to this team. I think he's going to make a big splash later in the season, but Caleb Williams got to get on the same page as these guys, dude. Like their defense literally won them this game. I mean, the blocked punt and the pick six. I mean, they couldn't score a touchdown. They got lucky to be able to get 2 field goals, I think, in the fourth quarter out of Cairo Santos. The Titans, I mean, they're just a shit offense. I just don't think that they're going to be very good. They're not going to be able to move the ball very well. And they're going to face a lot better offenses than the Titans going forward. So if their defense looks real deal, that's great news for them. But on the offensive side, ooh, a lot of things to improve on.
Mm-hmm.
Will
Gary.
Levis with the funniest meme of the weekend. The iconic picture with his hands on his head, just watching the ball get ran on him. I know we don't have much time left, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Will Levis with the iconic hands behind the head, crazy zoom in feature. That shit was hilarious. But yeah, I really didn't expect anything crazy from Caleb Williams. I feel like he literally sat on the bench all of last season, and people still gave him the Heisman and said that he was going to be the next coming of the Messiah. Um, and I just don't think that was really the case here. So yeah.
All right, let's take it down to the Patriots and the Bengals.
Oh my God.
Um,
Oh my God. Oh my
what
God.
a terrible, terrible game. And honestly, Garrett, let's start with you. Is it time to panic already for the Bengals?
Dude, they sold me so hard. Okay, so when I woke up on Sunday morning, I did a lay of every single team that I thought was gonna win. I hit every single game except for this one. He costed me $250. This was like a $5 or $10 bet, mind you. So like it was like whatever, losing it, I was like, okay. But bro, Joe Burrow is so fucking horseshit that it's not even funny, dude. He sucks. He sucked last year. He sucks again. He dyed his hair. He looks fucking stupid. And anybody who took him for fantasy at Mondo, I know hates him even more than I do right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he put up less than 10 points. I
9,
I think it was I think he put up 7,
9.
9. Sorry. Yeah, he's ass. And the hair dye didn't help. Jamar Chase did not help. Um, trying to run the ball when it's 3rd and 15 doesn't help. Um, bro, I don't know what happened to Cincy in the past 2 years, bro, but they're cooked right now. Losing to the Pats, arguably one of the worst teams in the league last year. The only change they made was their quarterback. Um, that shouldn't have been like that. That is not how that game was supposed to go at all. And I think the script writers know that as well.
Holmes.
Just pathetic showing, dude. I mean, I couldn't believe this game ended up the way that it did. It's just another notoriously slow start for Cincy. I feel like we see this every year with this team. They do not come out hot out of the gate. Joe Burrow he was not connected with the guys. He was not being able to push the ball downfield as much as they would have liked. I just give credits to the Patriots, man. Like their running game was dominant. Ramondre Stevenson looked good all afternoon long. Jacoby Brissett was competent, didn't turn the ball over, and just made it happen for the Patriots, dude. Like this was just a gritty ass win. That I'm gonna be frank, dude. I have no idea how they got it, and the Bengals got a lot of soul searching to do after this one.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I lost all my fantasy leagues because of Joe Burrow, and I'm not particularly happy with him. I'm also not panicking yet because I know it's game one and this type of shit happens with the Bengals. They always start slow. So I'm not too worried yet. But if he doesn't perform next week, he may be on waivers. Just
But here's
putting that
here's
out
my
there.
question to you, Mondo. Are they starting slow or are they continuing to play like shit since they have been last year?
Well, last year was kind of tough with Burrow injured, but
Sure.
so they started slow and then Joe Burrow picked up and then he got hurt
Okay.
and their
Oh,
season was
well,
kind of toast.
well,
So I'm going to give him like a 2 game buffer. And if he doesn't perform, he's gone. It's that simple. He's done. So we're gonna
we're all
run a
about
tight
second,
ship this year.
we're all
That's for
about second
sure.
chances.
Oh yeah, all about second chances, no thirds though. If you get a third chance for me, I'm probably dead. Let's move it on. Texans, Colts, Holmes. I will let you take it away first. What was the biggest moment in this game?
Oh, dude, I think everybody can agree. The video that we have seen around the world, Anthony Richardson off his back foot, 60 yards to the end zone to Alec Pierce.
Beautiful.
That was phenomenal. I mean, that the arm strength of this guy, we have heard it. We have heard he has a literal cannon for an arm. The knock on him is the accuracy. And I'll give him credit. In this situation, he had both. Man, he launched that thing down the field and right in the bucket of Alec Pierce.
Beautiful.
That was electric. I mean, he looked good most of the game, to be honest. This was a really fun game to watch. As close as it was, these division opponents were battling it out. I think you got to give a lot of credit to the Texans too, man. They were able to move the ball offensively in a number of different ways. Joe Mixon looked really good in his first game in Houston. I really like the prospect of him being able to take a lot of pressure off of CJ Stroud this year with a strong and competent running game. So I'm excited for what Joe Mixon can provide for the Texans. And as for the Colts, I think you just got to be excited with Anthony Richardson's first performance. There's always going to be stuff I think to clean up and to work on, but for him to show those flashes, to look good in the running game, I mean, I think that gives you a little bit of hope here. You're really hoping that he connects more with AD Mitchell on some of those downfield passes that he just overthrew him on a couple of those. But like I just said, he's got some stuff to work on. I think this Colts team will be just fine going forward. Maybe a little bit of stuff to shore up on the defensive side, but I like this first showing. Great game here.
You may be wondering why I put the shades on. I'm gonna call these from now on my hater blockers. When I feel like I might drop a hot take or two, I'm gonna put these bitches on so you can't even see my eyeballs.
To
Now, I want to
last
talk about
one
this
episode.
game. I want to talk about this game. I feel like this game was one of the most exciting games that you could have watched this weekend just because the battle of the quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson's long arm is absolutely insane. Like Holmes said, he overthrew a couple. That's okay. This is his first game back in a long ass time, and I feel like he has a hell of a lot of potential that hasn't even been tapped into yet. CJ Stroud, he's doing his thing, and I feel like he's only going to get better. But I feel like if you are a Texans fan, you are a D1 dick rider. That's all I'm gonna say. If you liked him before Stroud, you were only there for Watt, and if you like him now, it's only because of Stroud. And I feel like this team has gotten a lot of hype in the past year or two. And it's low key kind of annoying. But Joe Mixon, I got a lot of hate for taking this pick in fantasy. And I just this was a Gary gut feeling, call it. I saw the name, I saw who he's playing side by side with. I said, hey, maybe Stroud doesn't want to. Why are my glasses in my mouth? Maybe Stroud, I can't even do it. Maybe you know what? Maybe the Texans are dog shit. Have you guys thought of that? Maybe they're fucking bad.
No.
No,
But he's crashing out.
maybe they.
Oh,
I'm trying to take this filter off because it's
Gary,
going in my mouth.
Gary's crashing out on the episode.
Move on from this game.
We're losing
Yeah.
him.
Anthony Richardson, though, in all seriousness, I feel like this was a great first game back for him. And I feel like he learned his lesson from last year, wasn't really doing a lot of stupid running, only when it was necessary. And yeah, I think he did pretty good.
What was your hot take there?
That Houston fans are a bunch of dick riders.
Okay, gotcha. All right, over to the Vikings and the Giants. Sam Darnold looked pretty good in his debut, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is back and healthy and is responsible for one of those. One of the big things here, Daniel Jones's ass. I mean, I don't know how to sugarcoat it anymore. I don't know why we're continuing to have him trot out there in uniform. I don't understand. He's not good.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, man, I'm only going to really say one thing about this game. And if Sam Darnold is making you look bad as a QB, got some things to work on, my friend.
oh yeah.
186, 2 interceptions. Daniel Jones, you looked like a piece of shit. Sam Darnold, I will give you credit. First game back and starting helm after a long time. Give you credit, kid. You look damn good. And I think he started out the game like 10 of 10. I mean, he was on a roll for the Vikings there to start out. Dude looked good, man. And if a guy like that is going to make a guy like Daniel Jones look really bad, Daniel Jones, you got bigger problems, my guy.
You know what? The sad part is Daniel Jones does not give a single flying shit. He is making $40 million a year right now to stand out there like a dummy. He doesn't even have to complete a pass because he's already made 36 million guaranteed as a signing bonus plus 36 million signing bonus with a 92 million guaranteed on top of that. He's paid. He's paid for the rest of his life. He could literally just go out there and just spike the ball in the ground every play if he wanted to. And he's still richer than every motherfucker in the Giants stands that are hating on him. And you know what? That's on y'all. I mean, you were the ones that had that false sense of hope. when he finally learned how to throw the ball, well, here he is. He's back. He can't throw the ball anymore. You know why? Because you paid him. And you shouldn't have done that. You should have put him on a year extension, see where he went from there, and see if he really wanted the money and really wanted to play for your team. But no, you fucking sign him for 4 years, 160 million, and cut your fucking salary cap like that. And now you have nobody on your team except for this washed ass quarterback. Congratulations, New York. You guys seem to do the absolute best with every sport team you have. I mean, the only team that hypothetically isn't involved in that smart ass comment is the Yankees. But other than that, New York sucks cock. So
Yeah, probably a good move. You didn't do that. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we go to the Chargers, who took down the Raiders 22-10 in what ended up being an absolute masterclass from J.K. Dobbins. Holmes, how did that come to be?
he's
Dude, guy looked good, man. Give this man a ton of credit as well. For a guy that has had so many injuries throughout his NFL career, has not been able to play a full season, has not looked anywhere near the guy he has looked like when he was at Ohio State. Boy, he looked like that guy at Ohio State this afternoon. Man, 10 rushes for 135 yards and a touchdown. That is the J.K. Dobbins that we know and love. I think he might have actually just snatched that starter job right from Gus Edwards in this game. Give Joe Alt a lot of credit. He had a great first game as the one of the highest picks of the Chargers this past year. He looked really good. I was able to neutralize Max Crosby a lot more than I thought. Because dude, I thought Max Crosby was going to terrorize the dude this game. As for the Raiders, man, it's just clunky on offense. Didn't look very good. A lot of weird stuff they got to work on, man. I don't think they're really set on who they want to tote the rock in the backfield, Zamir White or Alexander Madison. Just don't love the receiving core. It's Gardner Minshew is okay as a QB. The defense is not that great. There's just not a lot for me not to love about the Raiders. But good on the Chargers coming out first game in the Harbaugh era, get a win, and the run game looks as stronger than ever.
Care.
Yeah, honestly, I think the most exciting thing about this game was the fights that happened at the game were absolutely electric. There was a man that got choked out in the stands, and then also outside, there was a dude-girl fight, and the dude suplexed the girl backwards after he beat the shit out of her husband. That was pretty sick to watch. Shout out Twitter for having the most graphic videos on the internet possible. Keep up the work, guys. But yeah, I mean, the Raiders are washed. The coolest thing they did in the offseason was Minshew getting a fucking mullet. And that's really the only thing to write home about. Also, Max Crosby ghosts cigars. Have you guys seen that video where he was ripping
Yeah.
a cigar and ghosted it? That was
Oh
insane.
yeah.
That's all I
Buddy
can
is
think of.
wild.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Let's go. Broncos Seahawks. What we thought was gonna be an absolutely terrible game didn't end up being that bad. It was probably one of the middle games of the weekend. Seahawks win 26-20. Kenneth Walker the third. Gary, I traded him to you this offseason. One, did you keep him? And two, what were your thoughts on this game?
Uh, Did
The
I keep
answer to the
him?
first one is no.
Okay.
Definitely does
Well,
not.
I don't know why you asked me. But no, I didn't keep him, jackass. To be honest, I didn't watch a single second of this game. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I wanted to because I know Bo Nix was starting, and I think Bo Nix was an electric quarterback back in college. Um, in terms of electric, I mean, just fun to watch. Wasn't really anything crazy, but he was cool. But the one highlight I did see from this game was Marshawn Lynch on the sidelines, fucking with the new Seahawks coach. That was pretty funny. But other than that, I don't know what happened in this game. Keep it a buck.
Yeah, this was one of the most forgettable games I think on the schedule. I'm kind of with you there,
Okay,
Garrett.
I feel better about it now.
Like, yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of this one really. What I did see, Bo Nix kind of looked rattled in some situations. Only passed for 138 yards on 26 completions and two picks mixed in there. Kind of like we said when we were previewing this game last week. I think Bo Nix was going to struggle going into one of the toughest environments in football and out there in Seattle with the 12th man. You could definitely tell, he was a little nervous. And, of course you're going to be going out to Seattle, your first game in the NFL. I think he's going to get a little bit better over the course of the season. I think he is going to uh, hopefully be able to not flourish, but improve on his skill set under Sean Payton. I really do like the comparisons between him and Drew Brees, and I think there's a lot that Sean Payton is going to be able to get out of him. I'm just kind of sketched out by the receiving core. Like I don't know anybody outside of Cortland Sutton. I don't even really think Cortland Sutton's that good. In terms of the Seahawks, just nice, well expected win here. Kenneth Walker looked great on the ground. I'm hoping that he is not injured for next week because that would be very unfortunate. And I was wrong about JSN. 50 plus yards in this first game. He did not get the rock as much as I thought. Hopefully that changes going forward.
Yeah, speaking of Cortland Sutton, I actually just traded him and Tyler Lockett for a first round pick next year and Keon Coleman in our
I think
dynasty league.
that's some value right there, to be
That's
honest.
that's solid value, and it really helps out Sang. I'm gonna be honest. Sang went on auto draft, and bro had the worst team I've ever seen in my life.
This guy Mondo's a scammer, bro. Don't even listen to him.
How am I a scammer, Gary? I
You
gave
literally
you a
live in New
guy
Delhi and
on a
fucking
silver
you live
platter.
in New Delhi and you give out shit picks all day for fucking fantasy and people
Shit
are like,
picks.
not picks, sorry, shit trades. No, we give the best picks in the business. Let that be clear. But sorry, I started lying and I started joking. Anyways, let's keep pushing on to
That's
the
what I
next
thought.
segment.
So this next matchup is what I thought was going to be the best matchup of the weekend. And that's the Cowboys and the Browns. And honestly, I thought it fell flat. The Cowboys just came out and straight out dominated the Browns. And Deshaun Watson, probably down to the 32nd ranked quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. The sexual assaulting piece of shit that he is, it's somehow a better human than he is a quarterback. And that right there says all you need to know. Gary.
It's finally here. The downfall that we have all been waiting for is finally on our front doorstep. Mr. Deshaun Watson is taking a shit. He should not be playing. I've been going on about this since last season. I hate that fucker with a passion. You're a human piece of garbage. You try to help your own teammates off the ground and they don't even want your fucking help. That's how much nobody likes you. Like, just let that sink in. You're playing a sport where you're constantly getting knocked on your ass. And instead of taking somebody else's hand and letting them help you up, you hate that person so much that you're like, you know what, fuck you. My 400-pound big body ass is going to pick myself up off the ground. Nobody likes him. His own fan base doesn't like him. I was rooting for the Cowboys in that game, if that goes to show how much I don't like him. Nobody likes Cowboys, and nobody likes Deshaun Watson, but I hate Deshaun Watson more than I do the Cowboys. So watching him go up in flames that's all I can ask for.
I mean, from a betting standpoint, I love the underdog in this game. When we previewed this game, I was all over the Cowboys. I love them at plus money. I thought this was the underdog pick of the week. There is no way that they should have been an underdog in this game, and that was very evident if you watched the entirety of this game. Like you said, Mondo, the Cowboys came out and dominated. Deshaun Watson looked horrible, as he normally does. His passing is just pathetic. I mean, he cannot hit open receivers. He looks so rattled in the backfield and in the pocket. I mean, he is nowhere near the guy that played for Houston what seems like centuries ago now. And with this new allegation that just came out against him, I'm going to be real with you. Fade the Browns until they make a quarterback change. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people very, very soon clamoring for Jameis Winston to take control of this team. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be fading the Browns every single game until Jameis comes in. That's where the tide's going to turn. I think this entire season completely hinges on if they make a quarterback change. Because if they make a quarterback change to Winston, somebody who's actually decently competent in completing passes downfield, I think this team's going to be a lot better. And I'm going to start betting on them once Jameis gets in this game. But for now, Browns are a stay away. I cannot trust Deshaun Watson at all.
How the fuck is Jameis Winston still a household name? Like that still boggles my mind, bro, that we'll be talking about the most obscure football team, and then somehow we're like, yeah, Jameis Winston actually plays there, believe it or not. Like I
Yep.
feel like that's literally his superpower is to just find himself in these situations that he should not be involved in at all, and somehow just makes himself the main character. Like
It's
I think
awesome.
that's so funny about him,
Awesome.
like every
Yeah.
single time, bro.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep the trend going. Buccaneers beat the Commanders 37-20. I'll open the floor up straight to you guys. Gary, Holmes, what went right? What went wrong? How do we feel after game one? What's the deal here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take this straight up. I feel really good, man. I don't know about you. From an offensive standpoint, I feel awesome. Baker Mayfield just second. I know it's the first game, but second year in the system for him to look as competent and as confident as he did all game long, finding his receivers, making the smart plays. I mean, 4 touchdowns, 289 yards. He had one of the best performances for a quarterback in week one. Absolutely loved the way he was able to command us all game long. And from a rushing standpoint, I think you have to be really, really impressed with Rashad White and Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving only gets 9 carries, turns it into 62 yards. Looks like a phenomenal draft pick after, again, only just one game. I'm excited to see how much more they're going to use him. And Rashad White, I think he's just going to continue to improve as a runner. The offensive line, I believe, has gotten a lot stronger, and I liked especially the play from Graham Barton, the center. I don't think he was graded like super high in PFF after this game, but if you watch that entire game, I mean, he looked really good for a rookie center coming into an offensive line. Boom, you got to be the guy. Game one. Really, really loved that. From a defensive standpoint, I think things could be better. I mean, I think, Garrett, you know this better than almost anybody. Like, our secondary needs help. It always needs help. And with the injuries with the guys that just went down, I know Zion McCollum went down, and I believe Bryce Hall went down as well. It's just unfortunate to see all the hits that were taken to the secondary because that is already the weakest position group on our defensive side, and we're going to get exposed in the future if we're not able to shore that up a little bit. Our ability to be able to be good run stoppers and put pressure on the QB, I'm confident in that. I think that's only going to get better, but man, like our pass coverage needs to be better. It's got to be improved on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the good things first. I made a lot of money off this game. I'm gonna say that. We took Baker Mayfield over 8.5 rushing yards, and that hit in a matter of 2 plays. That was a huge last minute play that I found. I took Baker under 1 interception, almost threw one there in the beginning, which kind of
Mm-hmm.
made me punch my butthole. But you know, he got out of it and he recovered. And that's what I like about the Bucks is they're going in this direction where they're working their offense up by building the chemistry, by building the experience. They only make changes when they absolutely have to with their offense, which I like. Continue to work these boys. Obviously, something's clicking now because the offense is almost better than our defense, which if you look at us this time last year, it was the complete opposite.
Yep.
Now, this is where I think the bad things kind of come into play is when your defensive line is playing better than your specialty players in the backfield. That's kind of a problem because unless your line is out here just getting blitzes every single play and able to shove, whoever's in their way out of the way, which doesn't typically happen because typically, we're running a 3-man front for whatever reason. Every guy is getting doubled essentially. So you kind of got to rely on your people in the backfield to make a play. And that's where I think we need to explore other options. I feel like we need to kind of dip our foot into the trade water, and try to figure out a way to at least get a stud back there. Like we don't really have a leader in the backfield. I think it's all kind of just shared mentality amongst everyone. And there were a few plays where the contain was just not there either. I mean, Washington's QB, God, why can't I think of his name? Was
Jaden
just
Daniels.
scramble a lot. And I feel like that was where majority of Washington's yards came from. I don't even think it was really off of any completed passes or any great rushing plays. I feel like it was simply the QB scrambling, and we couldn't stop it. And you never like to see that, bro. Like you should be taking that fucker's head off. But I think we played pretty good, and I think we beat them by a pretty sizable margin. We kind of let off the gas there in the last quarter because it was basically already wraps. But to see us win by 17 in the first game of the season it's something I haven't seen since we had Brady, and it makes me excited. So let's see what happens.
Feels good.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll kind of add to that over to the Commanders side, out of all the rookies, man, Jaden Daniels, he by far had the best debut out of anyone this weekend.
Yep.
I mean, not incredibly impressive passing numbers, but 88 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. That's something to be proud of.
Electric.
So I kind of love him as a sleeper ad in fantasy. If you guys are looking for a QB, especially if Jordan Love is out for you, Jaden Daniels may be that guy to keep an eye out for. All
Completely agree.
right, Sunday night football. We got 2 games left, just 2 more. Rams, Lions. What was an incredible playoff matchup last year continues over into this year in a great game that gets decided in OT. Holmes, what happened in this game that kind of shocked you?
I think it was the way that the Lions kind of let their foot off the gas. I think when they had the 17-3 lead, I think they were very confident in what they had. I think they felt very good in the game that they had played up until that point. It kind of just let the Rams back in it a little bit. They let Matt Stafford start getting easy completions to Cooper Cup. The offense was starting to move a lot easier. And with Puka Nacua being out, I mean, dude, throw everybody on Cooper Cup. Like, make the other guys in that offense beat you. And towards the end of that game, that was not happening at all. I mean, Cooper Cup looked like the guy he was 2, 3 years ago, just getting 13, 14 catches a game, absolutely dominating on the offensive side of the ball. So that was a little scary to me because if you're the Lions, you got a coach in Dan Campbell. I know that guy is preaching when you got these guys on the ropes, finish them, step
Mhm.
on their throat, like end the game. And that, unfortunately, I don't think this game should have went to overtime. And lucky for them, getting the ball first, went right down the field, scored a touchdown. They made it happen. Another good thing I just wanted to point out, Jameson Williams, man, big 52-yard
Okay.
touchdown pass. I think he's going to have a really good year. I know he had a lot of confidence in himself coming into this year that he was going to break out, and I really think he will too. I'm kind of surprised that Amon Ra was not targeted and utilized as much in the offense, but I think eventually going forward, Amon Ra will be utilized a ton. He's going to see a lot of better coverage. It's going to open the door, I think, for JMO, man. Jameson Williams was electric at Alabama. I think it's going to translate for the Lions. Just taking a couple years, but he's going to get his feet under him this year.
Yeah, I hate regular season overtime rules. I feel like if this game really would have just kept going for another quarter, I really could have seen the Rams pulling this one out. And just call me a hater. I don't really care. I just feel like the Lions, especially in the beginning, could not make a play. I mean, the Rams defense was absolutely insane. Like I kept calling him Fabio, the dude with the long hair. Bro, he was gunning motherfuckers left and right. Like there were some brutal hits being thrown down in this game, and you can tell there was some pure like hatred coming from the teams. And that's what I like, bro. I like this football where people are playing gritty and refs aren't being like, flag, like it was really just a good football game to watch, I think. And I really just hope the Lions can keep it up, bro. If there's one team that I'm rooting for, it's the Lions, bro. I would love to see them turn one of the shittiest franchises into the best in the matter of, the 3 or 4 years that they've done it. And they're still going for it on fourth. So, be ready to watch that shit.
Is there?
All right. Final game of the weekend. Jets 49ers Monday Night Football.
Oh,
Niners take it 32-19. Um, I'm a little upset that Aaron Rodgers didn't pull off the funniest thing ever. But aside from that, I'm glad the Jets got routed. On the other side, Alan Lazard looked great. And no McCaffrey, no problem. Jordan Mason filled in his shoes very well. I thought he looked great. He's an absolute menace of a handcuff to get if you have the opportunity. Just a solid all around great game out of the 49ers. And, the Jets, we know that they're not better. I mean, there's not much. It was just a good football game.
Yeah, just impressive showing from the 49ers here. It is Jordan Mason, right? That's the kid's name.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid came in and looked awesome. I was very, very impressed with the way he was carrying the ball all night long. Had not having CMC last night, they did not skip a beat. Brock Purdy was spreading the ball around to everybody. That offense was cooking like we know it can with all the weapons that they have. I think for me, I was surprised that the Jets defense didn't do more. I mean, I know that they're playing one of the best offenses in the league, but this Jets defense has been talked about all off season as one of the best defenses coming into this league, and I expected them to keep it a lot closer than they did. I was also really surprised. I don't know if you guys saw this. I saw it on Twitter. I think like 90% of Aaron Rodgers' completions were on the left side of the field. The right side of the field was barely utilized at all in the passing game. I thought that was kind of strange just from a play call, offensive standpoint, and them trying to move the ball and spread it around. I mean, if you're only using one side of the field, don't you become a tad bit more predictable if you're the 49ers defense? That was a little odd for me to see, but I think the Jets will be better. They just got some stuff to work on the defensive side. Hopefully, will be able to shore up their line, their secondary, and just being able to play more fundamental football. But the 49ers, off to a great start. They're rolling. Probably going to be dominant again.
Yeah, honestly, just disappointing football from Aaron Rodgers. I feel like this man has had all the hype in the world basically for the past 2 years, and he sucks, bro. He's old. He's tired. You can tell that he gets beat super easy, bro. Like he was basically like we lost in the second half of the game. Like you could tell he just didn't even give a fuck. Like his offensive coordinator was sitting there next to him, like showing him a play, and he just didn't even look at the guy's iPad one time. He just doesn't really give a fuck, and it shows. And I feel bad for Jets fans that are delusional and think that he's their savior, because he's obviously not. A lot of fumbles, a lot of picks. They're bad, bro. They're bad.
Yeah, I not really much to add there. I thought it was a great week for week 1 overall, and honestly for football in general. It was fun to watch, fun to be back in front of the TV, shooting the shit with everyone about fantasy, betting, all that. So I'm glad we're back, and with that, we'll see you guys on the next episode. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like, subscribe, share with everyone you know. We will see you on the next episode. Peace.